How's it going, world? I'm Jasmine, and welcome to my channel. It's July, and I'm late! So, to make up for it, I'm making 2 outfits. So, first things first, I had to find the fabric, which was a trip down memory lane. I've been collecting fabric for these for about 2 years now. At the time, I was just buying remnants and cute fat quarters from the craft store that I worked in, and let me tell you, I have so much fabric. Like, so much fabric, like you have no idea, like a lot of fabric. Like legit, these are just the ones I wanted to use for graphic t-shirts for dolls. I probably have twice as much for other ideas, and some I haven't even sorted through yet, and that's not even including my mum's collection of quilting fabric, which I have full access to because she's the best and I love her. Thanks, Ma. So if I'm honest, I really don't need any more fabric. Oh, who am I kidding? You can never have too much. And don't let anyone tell you otherwise. So, if you saw anything in these fabrics that really stood out to you, then please tell me. I'm always looking for ideas, and if you have some, then I'd love to hear about it. Just comment down below to let me know, and I honestly read every single one, and they always make me so happy and so guilty when I slack off. The first is in honor of the 4th of July, which we don't celebrate here in Australia, but then again, we don't really have any major events in July down under, so I figured I'd have a bit of fun and make this. I also have a surprise second outfit, which I think you'll love. I am so proud of it. You have no idea. Now, as I said in my last video, because I've separated the videos, it means I can go into more depth on how I make them. So as you've already seen with this one, it's actually a rippable fabric because it's just cotton, so I would just snip into it and then rip it apart. I did measure a little bit. I mostly just kind of guesstimated, and I did double the length of what I assumed her torso would be, just for like the corset bit of the dress that's going to happen. I then folded in half. The half on the bottom is what I'm going to sew to the waistline of the dress, and that way I don't have to hem the top. I was going back and forth on where I should place it. I liked this position, but I also liked with the star in the middle, and I just couldn't make up my mind. And in the end, it was actually after I'd put the bottom of the dress up to it that I realized what my favorite one was and went with that. So, like, make sure you have options. Don't ever limit yourself to what you first pick, because sometimes it's not as good as it could have been, and you don't want to miss out on an opportunity. So always keep your eyes open. Now, if you've never actually ripped cotton fabric, it's really easy. All you have to do is line it up where you want, give it a little snip, and then pull. It honestly is so easy, and it does a straight line. It's the quickest and easiest way you're ever going to do it. So take my advice and give it a go. Even if you're scared, just practice on a bit of calico or something, and you'll soon find that it's super easy. So for the skirt, I actually put it onto the highest setting so that it's called a basting stitch, but it really is just a really long stitch. And then I, along the edge, just sewed one line, which I think I actually should have done 2, but I always forget to the second one. I end up just doing the first one every time. So if you want it to be super duper strong, do it twice. But if you're like me and you forget everything, then just do once and then knot it at one end and pull on one of the strings. It's really weird. You'll figure it out if you ever give it a go. But when you're pulling, for some reason, only one will give way and the other one just kind of goes with it. So you're like, okay, whatever. But it works. And then once you've got it to your desired length, you can start tying off the ends again just to keep it there together. You will have to sew it down in order for it to stay where it is. Don't ever assume that it'll stay and it's not, just because you've put it there. It really does want to come apart. So eventually you're going to have to either glue it down or sew it down. So make sure that you're gentle with it. It was at this point that I was looking at it and I thought, wouldn't it be nice if it was like one of those mullet dresses where it was short at the front and long at the back? And then I was like, no, those are really tacky and awful and I never wear them. Why should I make my doll wear them? And then I was like, oh, that's right, because she doesn't have a choice. So I did think about doing it in a ball gown style, but like I said, for some reason I just really liked the idea of it just having a really long, flowy skirt at the back and just a short one in the front. So that's what I went with. And like I said, here is where I realized that it just wouldn't look good with the firework look, even though it looked really graceful before by itself. When I actually put the fabric underneath, it just didn't seem to fit. So that's when I decided, okay, yeah, I'm gonna have to go with the star in the middle. And I'm really glad I went with that because it honestly is adorable and it looks Captain America-y, and I just love that. So that's what I went for in the end, and I opened up the other half so that I could make the skirt. Now, if there's one thing I learned from this particular outfit, it's that always go longer. It's like I should have just cut another piece instead of just being lazy and going with what I had. Because it honestly is such a short skirt now, it's scandalous. And yeah, so obviously she doesn't complain because she can't, but it doesn't look overly classy. So, oh well, you live and learn. So I realized once I held it up to her that it was going to need to be darted. And now that again, hindsight is 20/20 vision, but now that I know, I would go from the bottom to do the darts and just take it from the underside. But when I was doing it in the moment, I decided to go sideways for some reason. I think it's because that's what I do on a life-size dress. And again, I'm still learning. So I went with this way, and I don't think it's bad, but I just, now that I'm re-looking at other designs, I realized, oh, okay, I should have done it that way. But, you know, now I know. There was so much fiddling with this top because I was just trying to figure out how to get the Velcro on the back without taking away too much and all that stuff, and it was very fiddly, but in the end I got there. Also, a little bit of advice: when you're doing Velcro on something, if you've never done it before, if you're looking straight at the garment, you should only be seeing one bit of Velcro. So if it's lying out flat and you've got it faced up, you should only see one bit of Velcro on the one side, and then if you flip it over, then you should see the other bit of Velcro on the opposite side. So like it comes together, so front to back. But some people make the mistake of putting it on the same side of the garment and then putting it together, but it just makes it so, yeah, what's what I'm looking for? Bunchy? Thick. Yeah, something like that. It just doesn't look right. So the best way is to make it overlap as best as you can by putting it front to back. So yeah, just a little rookie error that I've made many a times with a life-size dress. Please don't make it with a small dress. So in order to secure the dress, I use good old fabric glue to hold it down and just keep it hemmed as you will, so that you couldn't see the actual string. But that was just a quick fix, and I also glued it onto the dress in the end, now I think about it. Although I did have a little issue because I was thinking, how am I going to attach this and still make it so that it can open at the back? And because like I said, if nothing else, I really wanted these to be detachable. I couldn't have another outfit that was stuck on this doll forever. So I was like, okay, I'm going to have to problem solve here. So I glued it down on the fronts, specifically from on the side. So there and there. And then I left the back open, and that was so that I could take it on and off easily. Now, if I had snaps available, I would use them and I would make it clip on, clip off. But I didn't have snaps, and I've got some now, but it's a little late now. So what I did at the time was I just chose to pin it down with some needles, which worked. But yeah, it was just a bit, oh well. The point is, I've made my first ever removable dress. So woohoo! Yay! I then just grabbed some red shoes because I was being lazy and decided not to make any fancy ones because I just wanted this outfit done and dusted, and yeah, here she is. Isn't she adorable? And the best part, it's removable, and I can't get over that. And honestly, it's just so much fun. It's a cute little celebration dress, and the way I figured it, it's like it's a costume, you know. And I always make costumes that are like one wear, one day, and they're always held together with safety pins and glue and hopes and dreams. So I figured, yep, this one could be a bit of a hodgepodge, but in the end, it's still gorgeous, and I think it's just so beautiful. And look at her little posy. It's just so poseable. It looks good in literally everything, and it just gives me such good vibes. So I actually really like it. I hope you guys like it, and yeah, let's move on to the next one. Are you ready for this? Are you guys ready for this? This is honestly the cutest thing ever. The next one is going to be based off this hoodie. Oh my god. Okay, so I found this like ages ago on Pinterest, and I was like, I need this in my life. But then it was like $500 or something ridiculous, and I was like, yeah, nah, that's never happening. And I was like, I can make a mini one. Oh, so that's what this one was based off. So it's quite in depth, this one, and I have actually tried to photocopy some pictures of the pattern that I used in the end, and unfortunately it didn't really work. So maybe in the future I might make a blog or something like that, and I'll find a way to get the pattern out to people, but not, you might just have to wing it yourselves like I did. But it's not hard. It's actually surprisingly easy. The hardest part is just getting the hoodie. So first things first, decide on your fabric. I got this stretchy one that was an old t-shirt. It already had hems along the bottom, so I was like, perfect. So that was easy enough. And then I actually cheated and put the doll straight on top of the fabric in between them and lined her up where I wanted it to be. And then I used fabric glue and just glued it down. This is my mannequin doll that I don't worry about. So yeah, as you can see, it's a little old and a little acetone ruined, but whatever, you know, that's why she's a mannequin. And yeah, so like I said, I just used glue. I would glue front to back and then hold it down until it dried and then just move along, and then I took it off her and sewed along the lines so that I could take the glue off later with acetone. That was the idea anyway. Didn't actually end up really working. In the end I remade it, and that one worked way better, but it was still really good in order to be able to get the pattern. And yeah, so if you're ever trying to make a pattern but you have no idea how to go about doing it, and it's something completely new that you've never seen, you have no idea what you're doing, I recommend this method. If nothing else, it was actually really helpful after I cut it up in order to go, oh, okay, so this is the shape I need. Well, there you go. And then you just add a seam line and easy peasy lemon squeezy, done. So the hood is a little hard to explain, but basically I used an old cerise hood pattern, which I then cut in half, and then that was so that I could make the designs for Toothless's little ears. And in order to do that, I basically drew the pattern and then I folded the fabric in half and sewed the design. Now that was before I cut out any of the extra lines for the actual hood itself. I figured that part out after I'd actually made the designs and cut them out and then flip them inside out. I was going to have them right side out, but I was like, no, I'll flip them inside out and do it properly. And that was when I had put along the back side of the hood in order to find out where I was at. It was just an easier way to do it, and I thoroughly recommend it. Now these points where I cut to are actually where I'm going to finish sewing. I fold it in half and then sew along those lines and stop there. This means that it comes to a point, but it also leaves a gap open for the hair to come through at the end. After that, I decided that I needed to find a way to make the ears stand up a little bit, so I used some very soft wire from a cheap craft store, which I tried to do each and every little one, but it didn't really work out. So in the end, I decided to just go for the two big ones, and then I made a little kind of tiara sort of thing, which could wrap around her head, and I glued it inside the hoodie itself. So that's how it stands up, and in the end, it just looks so cute. Next were the wings. Now they were interesting, and it was mostly just winging it, pun intended. I cut out the basic shape that I thought they might be, and then I just sewed some lines that I thought wings looked like. Then I cut along the edges a little bit, and I glued down the ends so they wouldn't go anywhere. And then I put a long piece of wire. I actually left some space for some wire to slide through to the end, which I then was able to use to shape them in the end, and I can pose them now, which is really cool. So to attach the hood, I actually folded in the hemline along the top of the jacket and used that to my advantage and sewed it inside there. Well, actually, I think I sewed it. I might have glued it. Either way, it's attached. And then I glued the wings onto the back. Again, that was super simple. And then I started a design for the tail. So instead of making individual ones that I could stuff, because I honestly just could not figure out how to do that, my mind just couldn't fathom it, I actually just made a long tube, which I sewed it down to a taper in the end so that it was pointier at one end than the other. I then flipped it inside out and glued it onto the back. I tried to press it down so it looked a little bit like it had some shape to it and whatnot, but I wasn't too bothered. It looks like she's got a bit of a scales on her back, so I'm happy with it. And then at the very end I made the fins, which I used the same method basically for the wings, where I just drew a pattern, sewed the pattern onto it, cut out the basic shape, glued it down, and then glued it onto the tail. So that was pretty easy, kind of. After that it was little details. I couldn't help myself, so I made him some claws and some other little bits and bobs here. They were really easy. I just cut the shape, cut a kind of diamond thing, cut it in half, and then just glued them on. They're really loose and really basic, but they're very effective, so I was pretty happy with them. I also realised that Toothless has a little thumb nail kind of thing as well, so I made another little one just to go on the underside so that it looked like she had proper hands or gloves in there, so that was a nice little fun effect. I also had these Monster High boots. I think they were Frankensteins. They were from like a magician one, but I found them all like, yes, again, perfection. Don't have to make the shoes. I can just put her in these, and they're brilliant. And I actually really like them. I think they fit perfectly. So goes brilliantly. It's moments like this where you're like, oh yeah, it's all coming together. And here she is. Isn't she so cute and adorable? I can't get over it. It was honestly one of my favorite things I've made, and even though it didn't come out perfectly, the top of the hoodie could be a bit better and whatnot, but you know, I'm my own worst critic, so that's fine. For the most part, I think she's just so cute, and when you see her in real life, honestly, it's the most adorable thing you'll ever see. So it's a lot of fun, and I get to pose her too. She can make some great little poses. I also found this old plushy dragon that I made like a year ago or something, which I tried to pose her with him, but it didn't really work out. In fact, her wings were more impressive than his, so it was a bit of showboaty, but that's alright. So that's the end of the outfits for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you liked the outfits. They were a lot of fun to make, and I hope that some of you will try to make your own little Toothless hoodie. It really is a lot of fun. Although now that I'm looking at all of them, there seems to be one missing. Looks like I'll have to make another one. Yay! I can't wait till next video comes out. I promise it's going to be a really good one. It's going to be very interesting, shall we say. I hope you guys look forward to it. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please feel free to like and subscribe, or comment as well. I'm always down for comments. And yeah, I hope you guys have a good day. Bye!